This is fired prosecutor April Sponsel. She is the one who worked with Phoenix police to falsely charge protesters as gang members. The state bar's trial against her just finished its fourth day. Two victims took the stand against her, laying out the impact the false charges have had on their lives. Our politically charged investigation caused all of this fallout, and tonight, ABC 15 Chief Investigator Dave Biskobing is back with the latest on this trial.
Morning, sir. Before you have a seat, if you would please raise your right hand and I'll swear you in.
Ryder Collins is not a gang member.
Had you ever been arrested before?
No.
He wasn't even a protester.
Have you ever protested before?
No.
But on October 17th, 2020, he was swept up by Phoenix police and then later charged as a gang member. Ryder could have faced decades in prison.
Trying to bury me, and that was just like a really scary feeling. Like I just was depressed, and it was the hardest time in my life.
Ryder is a nurse. His hobby is photography, and he was downtown that night shooting cityscapes. Then he saw the protest, deciding, like many others, to watch it unfold by following along on the sidewalk. He was simply at the wrong place at the wrong time. But police refused to believe him.
Awful demanding for somebody being part of a riot.
And officers in Sponsel then presented false information to a grand jury, the charges hanging over Ryder for the next 3 months. But then came our story, exposing the truth. And almost overnight, police and prosecutors were forced to do what they should have done from the beginning: drop the charges.
I've always been very pro-police, and I still am. And so it just kind of shook like my trust in law enforcement. As much as I support the cops, I'm afraid to talk to them now. It's just a fact.
Before Ryder, the panel of disciplinary judges heard from Amy Caper. Amy actually was protesting that night.
And had you ever been arrested before? No. And had you ever protested before?
Yes.
Several years ago, we also interviewed Amy for our investigation. Amy told us they saw a flyer for a protest and went with a new boyfriend.
Did you know any of the protesters on October 17th before you got there other than your boyfriend?
No, and Benji and I had only been dating for 3 weeks at that time.
Never met them before. Yet Sponsel and Phoenix officers claimed they were all in a gang, even telling the grand jury they were like the Bloods, Crips, and Hells Angels.
Severe PTSD. I have nightmares still about that night and how scared I was for my partner. He was a caregiver for elderly and disabled people, and they took away his fingerprint clearance card because he was charged with a violent felony.
Did you receive any threats as a result of that protest and your arrest?
I did, yeah. Death and rape threats.
And in a little bit of irony as to whether Amy is dangerous or a gang member, the State Bar asked what Amy is doing now. The answer? Work related to government defense.
So you have a security clearance?
I do, top secret.
At the hearing, Sponsel's attorney did not press Amy or Ryder, each cross-examination only lasting a few basic questions. I'm investigator Dave Biskobing, ABC 15, Arizona.
Spurred by our reporting.
Does that surprise you that so many could have, not been properly documented?
Yeah, what that tells me is number one, there's no supervision.
The career of this Phoenix homicide detective is officially over. Her name is Jennifer DePonzio, and she just forfeited her license to be a police officer. We've been exposing her history of misconduct all year and revealing how city leaders tried to keep it a secret.
Here's ABC 15 Chief Investigator Dave Biskobing with the latest development in his ongoing investigation.
Agenda item D, consent agenda.
It was a quick vote with no discussion. The Arizona Peace Officers Standards and Training Board approving Jennifer DePonzio's voluntary relinquishment of her police certification.
All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Records show her case number was 2023 number 45, a case that wasn't even on the police board's radar until this ABC 15 report on March 29th.
Did a top Phoenix police detective mishandle evidence in a large number of murder cases?
DePonzio is married to an assistant chief, and internal police records show she failed to properly impound and document all sorts of evidence, some of it stuffed in bags under her desk or at her home. When the problems finally caught up with her, she went on leave, then retired under a confidential disability claim. So far, the mistakes have impacted 37 court cases and 61 police investigations.
Next agenda item.
The day after our report, the board started investigating. We previously reported that Phoenix likely violated Arizona law when it failed to report DePonzio's misconduct to the board when she retired. See, when police officers resign, retired, or get fired, police departments are required to mark yes here if there's any question of potential misconduct at the time they left. But as you can see, Phoenix police marked no on DePonzio's record. Now, Phoenix submitted this form in January of this year when the department knew for a year at least that she had mishandled evidence in multiple cases. Phoenix officials have not responded to our request for comment, asking why they marked no when they should have marked yes. I'm investigator Dave Biscobing, ABC 15, Arizona.